Hello, everybody. Welcome to Life with Anita. So, I've watched another Netflix find, y'all. And when I tell you about this Netflix find, I was sitting here. I was like, oh my God. So, it's called Lover, Stalker, Killer. That is the name of the documentary I am reviewing today. Now, this guy, Billy was lonely. Billy just couldn't stay off the dating sites, okay? I get it. I've been on dating sites and I have learned that dating sites are not the best thing to find somebody on because you run into all kind of crazy on top of crazy. Um, so I know firsthand dating sites are probably not the best, okay? Thank God, though, I've never been like injured or hurt because of meeting somebody on a dating site. But basically in the documentary, Billy just couldn't stay off these dating sites. And then he ended up meeting this lady. They were like, oh, we're just gonna be casual, whatever, whatever. Then he meets another lady at his job. And it turns psycho, as in this woman becomes so obsessed with this man. She starts doing the nuttiest stuff. Now, the whole time, Billy is thinking that the girl he met online is being stalked by the woman that he met at work. Oh my God, the twists and turns in this Netflix documentary, it had me sitting here like, what the hell? You just never know people. You just never know what people will do. Um, and apparently she was just jealous. She didn't want him with nobody else. Now listen, this is a real podcast. I'm gonna tell you some real stuff. Now, when I was married to D number two, I was very protective of D number two. Because he was my husband. And when he would go out and have affairs, I would get extremely upset. And sometimes he would leave like numbers, on, because he used to have a car. So D number two would come and get me. I'm a sidetrack a little bit, y'all. Stay with me. So my ex-husband, D number two, he would have this truck. And his truck, he would connect his phone to it so he could listen to music when we was driving and cruising. Well, one day, now mind you, this is years later. I hadn't had nobody number besides the first ex-wife number because me and her had gotten into it before, but all his other mistresses that he had had over the years, I never really got a chance to engage with him, right? I'm just a wife being cheated on at home. Now, y'all think I'm playing? I'm dead serious. Now, yes, I was mad. I wish I could have cursed a few of them out. But now we go fast forward to towards the end. Before me and D number two ended up in a whole nother state together. Now, when we was in the state that we met in, that we got married and all that other good stuff, D number two one time got this truck, y'all. Now, I'm a sidetrack with this story so that it all makes sense when I'll go back to this documentary. I get that as a woman, we don't want the person that we like, that we love, that we're with to be with another woman, right? So I get that part of why she felt that way, because this was a man she was sleeping with, that she was falling for. Now, yes, have I called women who I found out that my husband at the time was sleeping with, and when he left his phone open, yes, I got numbers out of it. Yes, I text those women. Yes, I was like, this is my husband. What are you doing with him and what is going on? Yes, I did, but that was my husband, so I was very protective of him as a wife because I feel like, listen, you have to know that this man goes home somewhere. You can't think that he's just not with anybody. And I talk to D number two all the time. I was all over the place. People just, it wasn't a secret that I was married to D number two. So with that being said, I kind of got a little bit of why the lady who had saw the other lady he met at work was a little jealous, because I understand as a woman sometimes we like, what's up? That's me. I get it. But she took it entirely too far to a place I never would have took it. And mind you, I was married to my husband and I still never went psycho crazy. I ain't never showed up in a woman's house. I never went and keyed nobody's car. I never busted nobody's windows out. The most I done did was maybe text you or get on the phone, tell you about yourself, and I'm done with it. At that point, I don't care, because now I'm finna be on his neck to figure out what's wrong with him because he know better. So Now we go back on track to this documentary. Now, with her though, the crazy part about this was him and the woman he met online had only been dating for weeks. Now, see, I was years in. I was the wife. I had a right to act the fool because my husband knew better. But he had only been with her for a couple weeks, and she found out about this other lady he just happened to meet at work. And she went psycho, y'all. I mean, if psycho was a person, this lady was doing the most psychotic stuff. I said something got to be wrong with her. So first, they were thinking that it was the lady he met at work that was texting her and him. Right? They like, this lady, he like, oh, I just met her at work. Ain't no way she done went this crazy. So the woman is playing along with this man. She like, yes, look at her. You're right. She's just so crazy. Look at her texting us all this nonsense. So now I'm watching a documentary, y'all. Now listen, I'm an investigator myself. I know what I know. I'm a Virgo, baby. I know it. I know I see through stuff. I know stuff before it happened. I can foresee nonsense. Now, as I'm watching the documentary, I say, now listen. I say, now I think little Lizzie playing in our face. I think little Lizzie playing games. So, little Lizzie house get burnt down. Okay? Now, her and Billy ain't staying together. Little Lizzie house get burnt down here. Now, Lizzie tell Billy, she say, I'm finna go and move away. I'm scared of this woman. I don't know what she might do next. I'm moving away. I ain't telling you where I'm going. She go start dating a man who works in IT that's good with computers, IP addresses, and everything. I mean, learning from the man, getting game. You hear me? This how you know somebody crazy. She was purposely using all that so that she could then portray herself as the woman he had met at work, but she had already killed the woman. Nobody knew this yet. They still thinking that this woman he met at his job is stalking him. This woman who burned her own house down that he was talking to first. Listen, the story was crazy. It took so long for the detectives to realize what was going on. I'm talking about years later, y'all. This story was crazy. And then when they finally caught her, they put her in the interrogation room. They said, listen, Lizzie. They said, we ain't gonna play with you. We don't want you to play with us. They said, Lizzie, we know everything. Lizzie looked at the detective, y'all. Listen, Lizzie looked at the detective. She said, you ain't gonna tell me I did nothing I ain't do. They say, ma'am, we got the IP addresses. We got the photographs. We got the phone. We got the SD card. We got the photos of the blood after we pulled the other level up out the car. Listen, Lizzie said, I swear. And listen, y'all, I'm not laughing because of what she did. It was the way you had to see how she reacted. I mean, she got real tough with that detective. Like, what? Okay, so what you trying to say? He said, listen. He said, I know it was you. He said, you killed that lady because you didn't want her with that man. And he said, you tried to make us all think that it was her this whole time. He said, that lady been dead for years. She said, I didn't kill her, and you ought to be going to go find her because she's the crazy one. She's after all of us. I said, listen, Lizzie, you going down, okay? So I don't know if you want your cigarette now or you want it later. But she kept being adamant, like, yes, I didn't do it. And I'm telling you, all the evidence they found years later, it was like, Lizzie, it was you. Now, you knew better than that. This man wasn't even worth all that. So, fast forward to the trial. She's sitting out there looking like, I don't know why I got found guilty. I told him I didn't do it. I said, listen, Lizzie, you tripping. Now, I ain't gonna tell y'all everything that happened, but that's kind of my summary of what happened. But this documentary was so good. It was wild, crazy, so many twists and turns. And the guy who it was about that really ended up connecting all these women, oh my God, his narration on his parts that he had to talk. The way he was saying stuff, his reaction to stuff that was happening, it was so funny because he was ad-libbing like no other and he was cursing. It was just his tone and how he was talking. It made it so hilarious. Now listen, y'all go and watch this series on Netflix. It's called Lover, Stalker, Killer. Go to Netflix, brace yourself. Listen, little Lizzie was on one, baby. Let me put this disclaimer out there now. Ain't no man, ain't no woman worth you risking your life going to jail, prison, because you feel like you like somebody, you obsessed with them. It is a billion people in this world. You should never get to the point where you feel like you want to harm another person over someone else and what they have going on with them. Okay? Let me tell you that from a standpoint of I have been a wife, I have been a girlfriend, I have been a fiance. There is no man I have ever been with in my life as much as I have loved a man. Okay? Because if we have a real conversation, I have never loved anybody the way that I have loved and as deep as I have loved, like I have loved my ex-husband, D number 2. Right? D number 1 was kind of close to that love, but D number 2, out of every man in my life, I've never loved anybody as much as I love and have loved my ex-husband, D number 2. Right? And that's just real. I don't mind saying that. That's what the truth is. That had to be the man that I loved the deepest, the most rawest, that is a man I have loved the most in my entire life is my ex-husband, D number 2. He knows this. I know that. That's just what it is. But even with him, when he was doing stuff, when he was having affairs, I still never got to the point where I allowed my emotions to make me do things that risked my freedom and my life when it came to me wanting to harm another person for what was going on. So basically, I want to make sure I put that disclaimer out there because sometimes we watch this stuff and we like, well, I get it. She was in love. Listen, ain't that much love in the world. And when I tell you I have loved a man, I mean to the point where you talking about delusion, my family thought I was batshit crazy, okay, when it came to D number 2. I'm talking about they thought he had me on whatever he had me on and I couldn't get off of it and they didn't know what to do. So I understand that love can be deep, love can be real, liking somebody can be serious. But let me tell you, it is never worth your life. You should never take anybody else's life because of it. So make sure when y'all in these relationships, when y'all out here messing with folks, stay off these dating sites. Be careful even when you see people in person, whether you're out at a club, whether you're out at work. Be careful when you meet folks. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what people got going on, what kind of nonsense, they mental. Make sure y'all stay safe out here because this dating world is something, baby. Y'all see I got a whole series called Toxic Crash Out. That should tell you. You don't know who you date sometimes, so you got to be careful with that. But I had to share this series with y'all. This was a documentary that just was, woo. I was just on watching the TV like I was one of the detectives on the case because it was so many twists and turns. But y'all go ahead and watch that on Netflix. Thank y'all for tuning in to Life with Anita. I will be back tomorrow with another episode. I'm trying to get out more and more content. Y'all stay tuned. I am currently working on relaunching my clothing line, Millionaire Swag Clothing. I got some great new things, so I'll be talking about that on another episode. So your girl been busy working, and I'm graduating in a couple weeks. So y'all know it's all the way live over this way. Excitement, happiness, healing, peace. But go check out that Netflix documentary. Thank y'all for tuning in to Life with Anita, to all my subscribers, everybody who rock with me, who do downloads, who just keep repeatedly listening to my episodes. I love y'all. I thank you for so much of your support. Y'all have a good day, a good night, a good week. Thank you for tuning in.